Okay. All right, Ivan, what would you like to talk about today?
Um, I have a beautiful family, um, and everything has been going very well. The issue is both of us, me and my wife, are two different people. Um, she likes talking a lot, and I do not have that personality. I'm a little bit reserved. And because she talks a lot, sometimes she shares a lot of stories with me, which is very interesting to know about the things. But also what really pisses me off sometimes is the fact that she keeps repeating the stories over and over again. And so she kind of forgets that she told me that story, and then she keeps saying it again. And then the other week she'll bring it back again. And sometimes I'm like, you know.
Yeah.
So I somehow get pissed of her telling me stories that she has already told me. And when I tell her, okay, don't tell me those stories, you've already told me that, and she's not happy about that. Um, and so she kind of gets uh, very disappointed. And so because of that, still some problems that arise. And so she feels like I don't want to hear her stories, but then I feel like I think you've already told me those stories. I think you're gonna have to come up with something new if you have to tell me stories, not telling me the same stories all the time.
Hmm.
So that situation is what is happening, and I feel like um, she does well telling stories, but she keeps repeating them, and that really nags me. I don't like it. And when I communicate that to her, that I really don't like it because you keep telling me the same stories, she still doesn't feel good about that. So I do not know the best way that I can be able to bring that up without having necessarily to make her feel bad about what she does. And so that is the situation I'm in. I do not know the best way that I can be able to do that without having to seem like, okay, she has issues with me and I have issues with her, but um, I feel like there's that kind of space between us because of not having that effective communication that we really need to have with each other.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So it seems to me that you love your wife and you want to communicate with her and develop better communication, but it frustrates you when she repeats the same story over and over again because you've already heard it. But then that can make her feel upset because then she thinks that you just don't want to listen to her. But you do want to listen to her because you love her. You just don't want to hear the same story over and over again that you already heard.
Yeah, sure. It's kind of difficult to say. It's exactly what you said is true. That is exactly how I feel. I feel like I need something new, something that will. And what's surprising to me is when she's telling them, she really forgets that she has already told me that. Um, and so when I tell her that, okay, you're telling me something that you've already told me, she wonders how that happened that she told me, and she also forget that she told me.
Mhm.
So
Can you
yeah,
tell me more about the communication between you and your wife?
the communication has been okay. Um, we seem to communicate the best way that we can, but um, that is just the issue of concern that we have, and because because I tell her that you're telling me old stories, then now the communication cuts off a little bit. And now she feels disappointed and she doesn't want to talk to me as often as she can. Even when she has new stories, she feels like they are old. And so she's afraid of sharing those stories now that she thinks I'll say, okay, you've already shared that one.
Mm, that makes sense. I'm wondering if that's contributing to the communication kind of dwindling out and not going so well. Can you tell me more about that? Or tell me
Yeah,
more about that? I guess can you tell me more is like a yes or no question. So I shouldn't say that.
yeah, like what happens is she eventually stops talking to me um, because she's afraid that I'll kind of stop her maybe in our conversations and tell her, you know what, I think you're going the wrong direction. We've already talked about that. And let's talk about something new. Um, I think that is somehow also affecting our communication because I keep on interrupting when she's talking. And
Mhm.
so,
He's 30 seconds left, just so you know for the timer.
so that is what has happened.
Mm, that makes sense. So when you get frustrated with your wife because she keeps repeating the same story, then she kind of withdraws and gets upset and then she doesn't share with you. And then that upsets you because you want your wife to share with you and you don't want to see her be upset. And so then you don't really know how to approach her about that because you don't want to upset her.
Yeah, I don't know the best approach. I really don't know the best approach. And that is something that I'm struggling with.
Yeah. Okay, we're out of time. Thank you for sharing with me. Does it sound
Okay.
tricky?
Okay.
Okay. So now I'll restart the timer. Oh, I think we're supposed to have, like I mentioned, I was reading over the assignment. We're supposed to have an observer, but we only have two of us. So, like, do you want to give me some feedback right now, and then we'll go into you being the helpy?
Okay. Um, I think you did well. Probably maybe my scenario was a little bit brief. I don't know. And I think that kind of gave you a very hard time to kind of go back and forth. But I think you did well with reflecting the content, but also the feelings. Um, you did very well with that. And I think you also asked some good questions. So yeah, you did well.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, it's definitely good practice. And I have to catch myself to not say like yes or no questions, just say open questions. It can be tricky.
Yeah, it can be. Can be.
All right. Are you ready to be the helper, the helpy now? Or the helper?
Yeah,
I'm the helpy now.
yeah, I'm good.
Sorry, I have a little bit of a cough right now.
Oh, sorry about that.
It's okay. Okay, let me start this timer. All right. So lately I've been thinking about my really good friend Winter, and I love her and we've been through a lot together in the past. Like we grew up together and we spent a lot of time together. She actually even lived with my family for like a year, but over the last couple of years, she hasn't been talking to me. Every time I try to reach out to her or I try to meet up and hang out or talk to her or see how she's doing, she just pushes me away. And she says like, "Oh, I'm busy," or, "Oh, I have to do this or I have to do that." Like she makes excuses. And so I feel like I was the only one making an effort for our relationship. And then after she kept pushing me away, I stopped trying. So I barely talked to her um, for almost a year. And then when I got married and I was trying to decide who to invite to my wedding, like I still loved her, and so I reached out to her and asked if she wanted to come to the wedding because we've been such good friends and we grew up together. And she just told me that um, that I only ever talk to her when I want something, and that I'm the only one, and that I never make an effort in the relationship, and that I am always the one who like I never try, and she's always like a second thought. And that made me really sad because I really loved her and I would have liked for her to come to my wedding, and I didn't know that she felt like that towards me, and it made me sad.
Okay. So you feel like your friend Winter, both of you have kind of had feelings that are not right with each other, and you are worried about what the future has for both of you. Um,
Yeah.
would you tell me more about what you think happened between both of you before you got married that made her feel that you guys are not in good terms?
Yeah, it's tricky because I don't know exactly what caused her to feel like this. Because I felt like I was the one, I never, asked her for anything except to just know how she was doing. And I always like made an effort to reach out to her. I feel like she was the one that never reached out to me. I felt like it was very one-sided and it was only me putting in the effort. And it was confusing for her to say that it was the other way around. And I think maybe it started because when I got married before with my ex-husband years ago, she was on her mission when I got married, and she was upset that she couldn't be there. So I wonder if that past experience made her feel left out because she was gone and she wasn't able to be there, and I didn't. Maybe I should have emailed her more when she was on her mission. So I'm wondering if maybe that made her feel like that, made her feel more negative towards me.
Okay. You sound like you made a lot of effort to to make things up with her, but then you feel like your efforts were not appreciated at some point, and because you did everything that you could, you eventually gave up on trying to build that relationship with her.
Yeah, absolutely. I felt like I just kept trying and trying and it kept not working, so I just stopped trying. And then I guess she got upset about that even though she wasn't reciprocating that effort.
Have you talked to her about her what is it that she says about you getting married, and she's probably not invited for the wedding, or she's unaware?
I let her know about the wedding, um, but she said some kind of things that upset me. She said some kind of mean things because my first husband was very abusive, and he was not it was not a good experience, and we ended up getting divorced. And and she doesn't know anything about my life right now, but I felt like she was like judging my current relationship, saying that, oh, you're falling into the same pattern, like, but it's weird for her to say that when she doesn't know anything about my current husband or my life. And I feel like she was judging me about getting remarried. Like she was negative about it and she wasn't happy for me. Like she was telling me that she thinks it's like a mistake, which is weird because she doesn't even know him or where I'm at. I don't know why she would say that, but it upset me.
You sound like you still love your friend and you want to really make up things, but you're really confused about what exactly needs to be done and how you should do it. Is that something that you've thought about?
Yeah, I absolutely feel like that. Like I don't know what to do. I feel like after all these years, maybe our relationship is just done and maybe she just doesn't want to continue that. Oh, okay, we're out of time. We hit 7 minutes, so we went to the you did really good. You did really good. I feel like
Okay.
you asked really good questions. You reflected content very well, and you reflected feelings very well. And your questions were open. You did really good about asking open-ended questions, and you're
Okay.
very attentive. Your body language was good. So overall, I think you did really good. So good job, Ivan.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. It was powerful. Very powerful. Do you think
Yeah.
this? Do you think the wait? Is the recording off?